Hello, you're watching Eye on Africa here on France 24. Our headlines for you. Universities across South Africa have been closed for the rest of the week as protests continue over tuition fees with standoffs on several campuses. All aboard the new East Africa railway line. It's designed to bring prosperity to landlocked Ethiopia, and it links Addis Ababa to the Red Sea port of Djibouti. And shoring up the flood defences ahead of the next rainy season, people in the Dakar suburb of Pikine are taking matters into their own hands, financing their own building work. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Norris-Trent. First, the standoff in South Africa continues. Students staging fresh protests over tuition fees on Wednesday. Several universities now across the country have been shut down for the rest of the week. Activists from the Fees Must Fall campaign say tuition fees hit poor black students especially hard. But other students now are calling for an end to violence so that they can get back to their studies. Nicolas Germain has more.
No one, however benevolent, can ever hand power to the blacks, and this is an example.
Heated arguments between those protesting against a rise in tuition fees and those who want classes to resume. The cost of university education is prohibitive for many black families, who on average earn 6 times less than white households. The government said it would cover 2017 fee increases for poor students. Those who want the famous Wits University to reopen said they weren't surprised by the counter-protest.
We fully expected something like this to happen, but what I feel it's just a shortfall on our part for not explaining fully that we are not anti-fees. We are not anti the movement at all. We just want classes to resume as quickly as possible. That's all we want.
Those against a rise in fees are determined to continue their protests.
No amount of provocation will stop us. Police have failed. So there's no amount of white people who will come and try to derail the revolution.
On Tuesday, the protests were more violent. Police fired stun grenades, rubber bullets and tear gas against students calling for free education. Both Wits and Cape Town universities announced they will be closed until next week.
Moroccans will go to the polls on Friday in the first parliamentary elections since an Islamist-led government took office in 2011 in the aftermath of protests and the Arab Spring. Now, the moderate Islamist party, the PJD, is hoping for a second term in office, but their coalition government's been weakened by rising unemployment and corruption scandals. Well, our reporter Chris Moore is in Casablanca. He's got more now on the mood in the country heading into this vote.
Well, a number of incidents in the run-in to this poll, including the stabbing of a candidate in the city of Fez. This amid an acrimonious atmosphere between the two main protagonists. On one side, the PJD, the Islamist party that's been the largest one in government since 2011. They like to portray themselves as the clean party, the one that will stand up against corruption for honest Moroccans. They're angry at a Salafist member of their party being forbidden from standing in the city of Marrakesh. They say their opponents are too close to the royal household. Not a bit of it, say royal officials for Mohammed VI. On the other side, we have the PAM opposition. They portray themselves as a centre-left movement. They say that the PJD are seeking the Islamification of Moroccan society. There was a big protest against that here in Casablanca the other day. Now, in terms of the level of enthusiasm for this poll, 54% of those eligible to vote turned out last time. It seems there are, despite there being big rallies, there are fewer campaign posters this time round. And in terms of that level of enthusiasm, we'll know more when Moroccans head out to cast their ballots on Friday.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has put 2 of his presidential jets up for sale, slimming down the fleet of presidential planes to cut down on waste and expenditure, one of his election promises. The president's office placed full-page adverts for those planes in Nigerian newspapers with photos of the luxury interiors. They're a Falcon 7X executive jet and a smaller Hawker 4000 if you're interested, and the price wasn't published. It's available on application. Next, a 750-kilometre train line has been opened in East Africa, linking Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa with the Red Sea and the port of Djibouti. It's a $4 billion Chinese-built project designed to boost the economy of landlocked Ethiopia. Here's more now with our correspondent Karim Labor in Addis Ababa.
This train will put the port of Djibouti just 10 hours from Addis Ababa, a major time saver compared to the 2-day journey by road, a very poorly maintained route which carries more than 1,500 trucks a day, and the number is on the rise as Ethiopia's economy is growing. This electric train line has been built and financed entirely by China, and China sees this railway as a showcase of its technology in Africa. And it's only the first step. The idea is to create a trans-African line from Djibouti to the west coast of Africa, to the Gulf of Guinea. As of today, the journey takes up 3 weeks by boat around the Horn of Africa. But this dream of a trans-African line is still distant, as many countries along the proposed line, like South Sudan or the Central African Republic, are today countries at war.
Zambia is looking to plug its growing energy gap and electricity shortages by harnessing solar power. Not only are 2 large-scale photovoltaic projects being put up for auction, but smaller-scale private business initiatives are being encouraged too. Caroline Dumay and Stefan Carstens report.
In Chongwe district, an hour's drive from Lusaka, Mololika Primary School has more than 1,000 scholars and no municipal water or electricity. None of the villages around are linked to the national grid. Nancy comes regularly here to promote her solar lights.
Hello, Mr. Hashlango.
Fine, thank you. How are you, Nancy?
Fine, thank you.
She came to show her latest model.
So you also just need to place it in the sun like that, and then you make sure the panel is up there, integrated panel.
It's handy. You can use it anywhere where you can move around with it in windy weather. Paraffin was posing a lot of risks. So we used to have accidents of fires in the homes.
The headmaster is so impressed by the safety of solar energy that he facilitated the sale of more than 300 lights in the community. Attitudes are beginning to change.
We mostly used to use candles way back, but now we use the solar lights. They are cheap, they don't cost you anything. Yeah, so my mom uses them for cooking, and when she's done cooking, I use them for studying.
Sunny started in Tanzania and Kenya. And then in Zambia, we've sold like under 200,000 lights so far, and we're still going.
At €5 a lamp, prices are as affordable as possible. Sunny Money is the biggest distributor of solar lights in Africa, thanks to the support of a UK-based charity organisation.
We are unique as Sunny Money because we are owned by a charity called Solar Aid. If the business was just for an individual, the prices would have been higher than these.
Zambia is expecting huge foreign investments in solar energy in the near future. But for the moment, everybody has to make a plan, including the teachers who often have to work in the dark.
The government should make an effort to give teachers, because you cannot teach without planning, and you need those lights. So they should just give the lights to the teachers so that they use them to plan.
Mololika school kids have to now convince their parents to buy them solar lights. Exams are around the corner, and it's an investment that most of these poor households have to make.
Every year, West Africa's rainy season sparks flooding, and slums and informal settlements are hit particularly hard. They just don't have the infrastructure to get rid of the rainwater. Well, now in Pikine, in the suburbs of Senegal's capital, Dakar, residents are financing their own renovations to try and see off future flood damage. This report from Sarah Sarko and Emmanuel Londe.
Fatimata supervises the finishing touches being made to her house that was damaged by the rains. Leaks had completely destroyed the floor and roof.
Here, when the rain fell, there was a lot of water in the veranda. We had to get buckets to get the water out.
Fatimata was able to pay for the renovations for her family through a credit loan, repayable in 20 months.
I borrowed around 600,000 francs, and each month I have to make payments of 31,500 francs. 30,000 for the renovations and 1,500 is interest for our fund.
Fatimata is one of 1,500 residents to benefit from a project to restructure the neighbourhood of Jida Tiaroy Kao in Pikine, a suburb of Dakar. In the area that's unsuitable for construction, resourcefulness is needed to evacuate the water. A nightmare in the rainy season. To fight against health hazards, the residents decided to form a savings group and even finance the renovations of their own neighbourhood.
Each group has more than 30 members. Each month we save. With this contribution, we were able to get loans. We have no worries, come rain or shine.
In total, 55 women's groups are supported by a local association called Urbacen.
We're in charge of technical and financial monitoring. We also do site monitoring. Why these women? Because these women are excluded from the current financial system, and today these women are paying their debts back.
The project has already helped to renovate around 100 houses. 300 homes in total should be saved from the water by 2017.
Well, that's it for now on Eye on Africa. Do stay tuned, though. Mark Owens here very soon for you with the latest international news.